Player ratings then, Everton 3, Southampton 1 at Goodison Park. Rafa Benitez's Everton are off to a winning start to the 2021-2022 Premier League season. Not the greatest game of football, a little bit shaky at times, certainly in that first half, but we've come away with the win, and that's all that matters. And we got to return to Goodison Park as well, of course. A full capacity Goodison Park today. How amazing was that? And to top it off, we got the 3 points. Anyway, these are the player ratings. Don't forget to check out the instant match reaction if you haven't already. We talk about the game generally. We're going to go into each player and talk about how I thought they performed today. Jordan Pickford to start off with then. I've given him a 7, obviously being out of 10 if you're new to the channel. We give them a rating between 1 and 10. I've given Jordan Pickford a 7. Don't think he done anything wrong today, Jordan, to be honest. Didn't really have an awful lot to do, granted. I think he made a good save in the first half, where Southampton ended up getting in behind our back line. And I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been Armstrong, took a shot from a wide area, and Jordan made a good save and palmed it out for a corner. Don't think he could have done anything about the goal whatsoever. I think the goal was a complete defensive cock-up by Michael Keane and potentially Mason Holgate as well. Don't think you can criticise Jordan for the goal at all. And he dealt with a couple of really difficult situations in the second half. There was a couple of really worrying in-swinging corners by James Ward-Prowse that were basically put right on Jordan Pickford's goal line. And I thought he dealt with them really, really well. And these are the types of things that you mightn't necessarily look at. When you're watching the game, you might necessarily think about. But there was a couple of times when James Ward-Prowse went over to take corners, I sort of thought, this could be dangerous here, but Jordan dealt with them well and even ended up catching, I think, the final one and playing it out. Yes, his distribution wasn't great. There was a couple of kicks that went out and there was a couple of kicks that were just completely rash, but like I said, it's only the first week of the season. He's still trying to get back into his flow, and I don't particularly think he's done anything wrong today. So Jordan Pickford is getting a 7. Luca Dean at left back then, I've given him a 7 as well. Thought he had a decent game, to be fair. Got forward obviously on a number of occasions and threw cross after cross after cross into the box. Unfortunately, there was nobody there to meet him. I think his corners were a little bit short at times. Again, it may just be put down to the fact that it's only the first game of the season, and obviously trying to get back into the flow of things. Obviously, he had a free kick on the edge of the box, which would have been absolutely lovely for him to curl in to into the top corner, but unfortunately he didn't. It was blocked by the wall. But I thought generally today, I thought Luca Dean had a decent game. Defensively, he was okay. Didn't struggle too much. Got caught a couple of times, but nothing too serious. And like I said, he was always trying to get forward. He was always trying to cause a threat. Even if it didn't really come off today, he was always trying to get forward and cause a threat. So I've given Luca Dean a 7. Mason Holgate, I've given him a 5. And this is probably a generous score, to be honest with you. I think a lot of people will have given Mason a lesser score. The reason for the 5 is I think in the second half he was a lot better. The first half, I think him and Michael Keane were both, I think they both really, really struggled, to be honest with you. I do. I think as a partnership, I just don't think they work whatsoever. I just don't think there's enough leadership there. I don't think there's enough communication there. I think they're two decent centre-halves, and I think if you put either one of them next to a Yerry Mina or a Ben Godfrey, I think they'd look, they'd play well as shown in previous seasons, but together as a partnership, I just don't think they can. I don't think they can play. And Mason, on a couple of occasions in the first half, got caught out with the ball in possession and sloppy passes and not looking up and not playing the right pass and lumping the ball forward unnecessarily, and it was just really disappointing. I thought in the second half, like I said, I thought he grew into the game a little bit more, and as we become sort of more confident and more compact defensively, I think Mason sort of settled into that in the second half. But the first half, I thought he really struggled, so I've given him a 5. Michael Keane, I've given him a 5 as well. Now, Michael Keane was on the borderline of getting a 4 for the goal. I think the goal is shocking. It's a shocking mistake. You can't be making those mistakes. You really can't be making those mistakes. And like I said, Michael Keane didn't have his greatest of games whatsoever, did he? Let's be honest. His distribution was poor at the best of times. Just lumping the ball forward instead of making the easy sort of 5-yard pass. He's trying the chip ball over the top and it's going out for an opposition throw in, and just adding unnecessary pressure to what we needed. But I actually thought Michael Keane started the game okay. Before the mistake, I thought he looked comfortable, I thought he looked calm, I thought he looked commanding. He then made the mistake, and in typical sort of Michael Keane fashion, his head dropped, and that was it then. He never really picked it back up again. The second half, again, when we looked more comfortable, he obviously looked more comfortable because of those changes with tactics and formation and stuff. And he started to deal with, he made a couple of good blocks from crosses coming in, but overall, just not good enough. You can't be making defensive mistakes like that. You simply can't. I don't care what excuse you want to give. That was a simple defensive bit of play there. Again, we've conceded another goal, and this is the most frustrating. It was the same with Manchester United last week. Again, we've conceded another goal, which is completely avoidable. We haven't conceded a worldie from 30 yards. We haven't conceded a goal that you look at and you go, blooming hell, okay, it could have been stopped, but it's a great finish. We haven't conceded a header at the back post. Even that, you'd look at and go, okay, that could be avoided, but it's a good header. We've conceded the goal, which is just utter nonsense. There was no opportunity for Southampton whatsoever, and Michael Keane just completely cocks it up, and Adam Armstrong goes in and scores. So, like I said, both are getting a 5 today, and that's probably because I'm in a really good mood, because I've just been in the game for the first time in 18 months, and we've won a game of football, the first game of the season, which is always good. But really disappointed with Michael Keane and Mason Holgate today. I just think the pair of them, I just don't think they can play together. But yeah, there you go. They're out the way now. Like I said, Michael Keane gets a 5, Mason Holgate gets a 5. Seamus Coleman have given him a 7 as well, as Luca Dean. Thought he looked good, Seamus, today. I had no doubts about Seamus Coleman going into today's game. My doubts will come more towards October, November time, when Seamus is, well, hopefully we bring in a right back before then, but if we don't bring in a right back, that's when my doubts will come, when Seamus is playing week in, week out for a month, 2 months, because that's when you start to see his fitness, that's when you start to see his issues sort of prop up. But I thought he done really well today. A couple of times he picked the ball up and he moved it into the midfield and he held it well. He got forward on a couple of occasions as well and started to help out up top. Nothing had really come off, same with Luca Dean, but this intent was still there to get forward and try and throw the ball into the box. And I just thought he was really commanding. He made a couple of really tough challenges, which obviously, the Goodison faithful were absolutely loving, including myself. I think Seamus really played off of the crowd today, and rightly so. That's exactly what he should have been doing. That's exactly what every Everton player should have been doing. But yeah, I thought he put in a really good performance today. So Seamus is getting a 7. Alan in the midfield then, I've given Alan a 9. Thought he was excellent. Thought he was absolutely excellent. Yes, there was periods in the game where maybe he was giving the ball away a little bit too easy, and when we were under the cosh in the first half, and even for 10 or 15 minutes in the second half, I thought Alan was one of the only players who was really stepping up and getting to the ball. I said it in the instant match reaction. I think he really plays off of the crowd, Alan. You can see it in obviously Richarlison and how well he plays when there's a crowd there. And I think Alan's very much the same. He's commanding, he was picking the ball up, he was everywhere. He almost seemed to have that extra 10-15% of fitness that we didn't necessarily see at times last season, when obviously he was playing in front of an empty stadium. And I think he, like I said, I really do think he's a player that gets that bit of an adrenaline boost, gets that bit of an emotional boost from having the fans there, from having fans, jumping up and screaming when he puts in a challenge or when he picks the ball back up. I think that helps Alan massively, and I thought he was great today. He was picking the ball up, he was 1-2 passing it to Doucoure. He was in the mix, he was involved everywhere. Obviously he had the shot in the first half, which was unlucky. And I just thought he was that midfield general. Southampton had a really difficult afternoon trying to deal with Alan in the middle of the park. The first half, like I said, I thought they were overriding us, but certainly in the second half, I just think they had a real turbulent time trying to get through both Alan and Abdoulaye Doucoure. So for me, Alan gets a 9. Thought he played really well today. Abdoulaye Doucoure, he gets a 9.5. Maybe a little bit harsh not to give him a 10, but I thought he was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. He is that energetic midfielder, isn't he, that every team wants and every team needs, and Everton have desperately needed for a long time. Obviously last season he was great, and he had some injury issues that obviously hindered the season, but again today he was everywhere, wasn't he? Every time the ball was in the air, no matter where it was on the pitch, Abdoulaye Doucoure was there to win it. Every time the ball was on the floor and it was bouncing around, Abdoulaye Doucoure was in the mix. And said in the instant match reaction, he's very clever, Abdoulaye Doucoure, because he puts his weight about, he puts his body on the line, he gets involved. He's every ball that's in the air, he's jumping for. Every ball on the floor, he's getting in and around. But he does it in a real clever way. He never really gives fouls away, Abdoulaye Doucoure. So he'll be in, the ball will be bouncing around, and there'll be a couple of Southampton players, say, and maybe Alan's in there as well, and Doucoure will just come in, bulldoze his way through everyone, pick the ball up, come away with the ball, and do that without giving a foul away as well. I think it's brilliant the way he does it. Obviously his goal was absolutely unbelievable as well. You're thinking that he's wasted the chance when he cuts in on his left and then he cuts back on his right and he just rifles it into the top corner. To be fair, I think the ball's still flying now, to be honest with you. It flew straight through the net, straight through the chairs in the stadium, and I think it's still going now. It's like the opposite of a meteor. The way a meteor comes down, that one's just gone straight up. What an absolute rocket that was. Unbelievable goal by Doucoure, and exactly what he needs as well. Look at how much it meant to him. The shirt come off, he was straight in the stands, jumping in the crowd with the Evertonians. It was just absolutely amazing to see, and like I said, I think Doucoure's topped his afternoon off with a goal there, but other than the goal, I thought he was absolutely brilliant. He was everywhere. He was picking the ball up everywhere we needed him to be. He was making good passes. Like I said, he's strong, he's physical. The Southampton players were having an absolute nightmare trying to deal with that physical presence in the midfield. And, Doucoure showed today that when he's 100% fit, not many Premier League midfielders will be able to deal with that sort of energy and that sort of intensity and that sort of physicality. And we also saw another side of him today, which we were screaming to see on a number of occasions last season, and that's that midfielder who picks the ball up, and when he's within 20 yards of the goal, strikes his foot right through. He scored a couple of goals last season, a couple of really nice finishes, but he never really scored one of them, did he, where he sticks his foot through it and rifles it into the top corner. So it was amazing to see him score today, one of them today, and I thought he put in a really good performance. So Doucoure is getting a 9.5 for me. On to Demarai Gray then, one of the new signings, of course, starting making his full Everton Premier League debut today. I'm going to give him an 8. To be honest, I'm going to give him an 8. I thought he looked really, really sharp. Obviously, he didn't do an awful lot in regards to his final product. He put a couple of really good balls into the box, which unfortunately, I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin just missed out on getting to one of them. I think Richarlison missed out on getting to one of them as well. But I think taking away that, and it would be really harsh to sit here and say, oh, he didn't have a great game because his final product isn't great. Taking all of that away, I thought Demarai Gray today, it was a breath of fresh air. He was something that Everton don't really have. There's only really Richarlison who does what Demarai Gray does, and having another player in the squad that can do what those two, that Richarlison does is massive. And what that is picking the ball up and driving forward with pace, with skill, with the ability to turn inside, with the ability to go on the wing, to cross balls in, to win corners, to get the ball in the right area. He's a player who will cause a lot of issues to defenders for me this season, and in the same way Richarlison does. I love Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Thought his goal was excellent today. I really do love Dominic Calvert-Lewin, but he's not the type of forward who picks the ball up and runs at players and takes 2 or 3 players on. He's the type of forward that whoever that player is that's taking players on, whips the ball in, and Dom is the person that puts it in the back of the net, as shown today with his goal, which we'll talk about in a moment. But Demarai Gray is another one of those who defenders will be looking at thinking, I've got to watch this lad because he's quick, he can take the ball around me, he can put a ball into the box, he's skillful, he's clever, he knows what he's doing, and it's that attacking threat and that attacking presence that I think Everton will really benefit from this season. And I thought he looked good today. I really, really do. I thought he looked good. He worked hard, he battled for a start, the intensity was there, the fight was there, the work rate was there. So even taking away his ability as a footballer, he worked his bollocks off for 90 plus minutes. Not 90, he come off, didn't he, for whatever it was, 85 plus minutes. And I think he had that little extra bit of quality that we saw glimpses of today, and I think we'll see a lot more of in coming weeks and months. So Demarai Gray is getting an 8. Andros Townsend, again, another Everton Premier League debutant. He is getting a 6 today. Again, he was okay, wasn't he, Andros? He put in a couple of good balls into the box that were defended well by Southampton. Richarlison, I think, nearly got on the end of one of them. A couple of disappointing balls into the box as well from free kicks and from various different situations. I just think he struggled to get in the game today, Andros Townsend. I think he struggled to really pick the ball up and get at Southampton and break them down and cause them havoc. But again, I'm not going to massively use that against him. He wasn't awful, he didn't do anything particularly wrong, he just wasn't massively in the game, was he? So Andros is getting a 6. Dominic Calvert-Lewin then, Dom gets an 8.5. Again, he struggled in the first half, I thought. He struggled to get in the game, and I don't necessarily think that was Dom's fault. I think all of Demarai Gray, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison and Andros Townsend all sort of struggled in that first half because of the fact that the ball into the final third just wasn't good enough whatsoever. It wasn't until Rafa Benitez changed the style and changed the system and the formation that you could see there was visible changes. But in the second half, obviously, he was battling, he was winning balls, he was throwing himself about, and his goal is a really, really good goal. Obviously, cross comes in from Richarlison, diving header, gets on the end of it. Should the goalkeeper do better? Not interested, to be honest with you, not interested. Dom gets his goal, and that's exactly what Dominic Calvert-Lewin's needed as well. If Dom obviously will be looking to achieve bigger and better things this season and go and beat the goal record that he set last season, and in order for him to do that, it was important for him to get his goal tally underway on day one, and that's exactly what he done. Really clever finish. Again, wasn't massively in the game throughout the rest of it, but was throwing himself about, was using his weight, and again was in the right place at the right time. I think it's a really clever header. So Dominic Calvert-Lewin is getting an 8.5. Last of all then, Richarlison from the starting 11. We will go on to the subs, but Richarlison's getting a 9 today. I love Richarlison. I do. I could just finish it there. Then don't even need to give an explanation as to why he's getting a 9. I love Richarlison. I think he's absolutely boss. No, but seriously, again, his work rate is up there, isn't it, with anything that, you know, arguably we've ever seen in an Everton shirt. He's constantly working hard, he's constantly battling, whether it's defensively, whether it's up top, whether it's to score goals, whether it's to avoid conceding goals. He's constantly working hard. And to say this lad has just come off the back of a Copa America tournament where Brazil went all the way to the final and unfortunately lost, and then an Olympic tournament where they went all the way to the final and won. To say this lad has not had a break, and by a break I literally mean not had one day off football for the last 12, 15, 16 months, whatever it's been, he still gives 150% every time he puts the shirt on, and he still runs round like it's no man's business. That lad is incredibly fit, and today I thought he worked his balls off once again. Obviously he got his goal, which is fantastic to see. Amazing to see him being presented with the Brazil frame as well at the start of the game, which was fantastic. Great gesture by Everton. And yeah, his goal is a really neat finish. Ball's bouncing about in the box, and he shows Richarlison why he is an out-and-out goal scorer, a natural goal scorer, because he's the first to go, this is bouncing around here. He looks at Alex McCarthy, he sees that he's a bit, you know, hesitant in his decision making. He's within two minds, and Richarlison goes, right, I'm getting on the end of this, you know, sticks a foot in and obviously directs it in towards the back of the net, which is a really neat finish. A celebration shows just how much he loves Everton and how much he cares about Everton. And yeah, I just love Richarlison. I thought his work rate was excellent. I thought he was trying to create opportunities, put a couple of really good balls in. Obviously he got the assist for Dominic Calvert-Lewin's goal as well. And I just thought he was everywhere tonight. So Richarlison is getting a 9. Onto the substitute bench then. Alex Iwobi, I've given him a 7.5 to be honest. Thought he'd come on. Like I said, he got the assist for Doucoure's goal. Thought he looked, you know, there was a couple of times when he was trying to knock the ball past the Southampton defenders and get on the end of it, and it just wouldn't work out for him. But he looked confident. He was a threat, and that's all we really needed Alex Iwobi to be when he come on this afternoon, was to be a threat, to threaten Southampton's, you know, back line, and he did that. So he's getting a 7.5. Anthony Gordon's getting a 6.5. Didn't really do an awful lot, did he? Let's be honest, but it wasn't really on the pitch for that long, but didn't really massively impact the game. I think he had one chance where he got shouldered off the ball and he was looking for a free kick and he didn't get it. But look, ultimately it was good to see Anthony Gordon get some game time, and hopefully we'll see a lot more of him in the coming weeks and months. And then Yerry Mina, I've given him a 6.5 as well. Not too sure he even had the touch of the ball, to be honest with you. But you know, again, he went in and he showed that defensive line up, and you know, he ensured that we didn't give anything silly away in the last sort of 5 or 10 minutes of the game, which would have put us under any real pressure. And then Rafa Benitez, I've given Rafa Benitez an 8.5 today. Obviously the first half wasn't great whatsoever. You know, we struggled massively, and defensively we were really poor. The shape looked like it was off. The players just looked like they were a little bit confused as to what they were doing. But to be fair to Rafa Benitez, he went in at half time, he changed it, he changed the formation, he changed the system, and we come out and we looked a much better team in the second half. So there you go, Rafa Benitez is getting an 8.5. Big thank you for watching. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you've enjoyed this one, please do hit that like button. Don't forget to check out the instant match reaction. Like I said, that is up on the channel now. And if you want to join us live, we'll be live on Monday morning talking about this game in greater detail. So don't forget, subscribe if you're new. It takes a second, and you keep up to date with all the latest Everton news, content, previews, reviews, all that good stuff. Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. Leave the video a like if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. Check out the instant match reaction, all of that good stuff. Get in. How good was it to be back at Goodison Park? And how good was it to be back watching Everton win live in the flesh? Amazing. Big thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.